I'm gonna document this because I feel like it. I'm gonna try to make a new song. And by the way, what I'm gonna be using is this little synthesizer right here called Vital, and the reason the lights are blue is because it looks much cooler with these little keyboards right here. So yeah, if you know how to use this thing, you can pretty much make any sound you want. This is one I made by complete accident, but I wanted to save it because why not? If you've heard this song before, which you definitely have if you've played Deltarune before, you know this. I've ended up making some random stuff. I just messed around and I got this for a pluck somehow. I also must say that Vital, when loaded into FL Studio, its frame rate is much lower than it is normally, which means that the notes only play on certain frames, so they could be delayed very slightly though. However, I want to go with this preset that I made. Nothing too crazy, just a cool little. Nothing too weird. And I want to base it off of something to do with this little chord right here. That's F sharp minor ninth. Weird melody I came up with earlier is this. Could use that. I don't know if I'm going to use that for this song though. I want it to be a little bit more downbeat and actually chill. Which is why I'm going to set the BPM to like 85. And also I'm not thinking of setting a key because just place the notes. Sure, it sounds better with a key, but I don't really know how to do that in FL Studio. Right now at least. So I'm going to first try to come up with a chord progression and a little melody that can fit it. For this song I kind of want like... Some people like the rain a lot, myself included. And I like the rain specifically just because it's chill. Alright? It's like the weather to relax to, besides snow. Which is why I named the song Pluviophile, and I want that song to kind of depict why I like the rain, specifically. And why other people may like it. So I'm going to try to come up with something right here. Why is this to the key? I don't want it to be like that. Add key marker default. Okay, good. So now I can actually do a minor ninth chord. That's a fifth ninth. Can actually do a minor ninth chord like I wanted to do. And F sharp minor ninth. And now I'm just gonna add strum because it kind of... You get it. I have a screenshot of chord progression that I kind of liked. Let me try to find that. It was this. So I'm gonna try to do that. This is B minor ninth now. D minor ninth maybe. And it goes up to E. Down to A, but I wonder if, since that's a different chord, would it work at C, since this is D minor ninth instead of B minor ninth, like in the original screenshot. How would that sound? I kind of like that. If I just add a little bit of strum. And then... I like that. I kind of don't want it to be like this instrument, you know? I want it to have, like, less impact. I could just put up the attack. If I want that. Maybe. I like that. Listen to the difference that makes. I turned one knob slightly, and then this happened. What if I lower it to 80? Hold up, 80. I like that. So this is gonna be the chords. And I'm gonna make another little thing right here. Wait. I'm gonna make another instance of Vital with the same preset, except the attack is gonna be normal this time. If that makes sense. Then we're gonna make a new pattern with Vital 2, and then we're gonna take the notes from the chords. Why is this on a different key now? So we're gonna take the notes from the chords and arpeggiate them and make that the melody, maybe. See how that layers with each other. If I make this slightly louder. I like that. Now I just gotta do the other chords, which should be fine. Why are the notes like this? I'm thinking of using the notes from the next arpeggio to kind of fall off into said arpeggio like this. What if I just do this? What about from the previous arpeggio? I like that. You know, I'm gonna restart this because I'm gonna restart making the melody because you see how some of the notes just aren't aligned to the beat, which I hate. Or what if I just do this? Snap. It's 16th note, so it's 4th beat. Right. Snap to 4th beat. Why did that do nothing? This is weird. 4th beat. There we go. Alright, now it works. So now if we see how that works. And then now it wouldn't fall into the same chords, so I have to move that over a little bit. It was actually the chords that needed their time changed. I have to keep that there. The chords are off time. See how this works? I did not realize this until way later. I don't really want to have this as the same instrument. I feel like we should have the chords as something else, you know? Or maybe even the melody is something else. About that pluck. I feel like I should just have the chords as something else. What if I make something from this? Or just do this. I just changed this to one voice instead of 15. Kept the lead melody at 15 voices. And kind of sounds better. Finished the melody, I guess. Could be good. I'm gonna move this over one and just have the chords by themselves for a bit. I kind of like that. Something I do want to add is just some rain sound effects, so hold on. Under 25 minutes. Here. This is good. Okay, now here. If I just drag this in, it's a 25-minute track, so it's going to take a bit to load. Here we go. Now if I just move this 4 measures over, is that a nice fading? Can I just put this to a certain sound channel in the mixer? Here we go. Here we go. Perfect. Now I can create an automation clip for the volume of this. And it's awesome. Just want to balance the volume so it doesn't, so the rain doesn't override the song, you know? Forgot to name this, by the way. How would a bass line go with this song? Okay, so I did the wrong thing. The thing I made the automation clip for was this little knob here, so it was just changing the pitch a little bit. So now, from what I should know, this controls the volume of the rain right here. So now look at this. Insert 3 is where the rain is coming from, right here. Alright, and this little volume knob is going to go down as this goes down. Like, watch, as soon as the chords come in, it's going to quiet down. So how it went down, that's what automation clips do. And you could do this for literally anything in this program or in third-party plugins like the synthesizer I'm using. So now I'm going to try to make a bass line that's going to come in on this, on the 17th measure. Why is the volume on the third track not staying down? I click out of it for 5 seconds and it's back for some reason. Why does it keep doing that? Is insert 3 just stupid? Bassline, I also decided to kind of mimic the chords, but kind of last a little bit longer than them, last for like that whole measure, because the chords are supposed to last for a measure with like the lead melody. Yeah, you'll see when it happens. now that that's done, we need to find some drums and then do some stuff with it. I'm gonna make a new pattern for the drums. I'm also gonna rename this to bass. This is very disorganized, by the way. This channel rack. What is this? How do I make it to just put a sound in the channel rack? Oh. That was simple enough. I was messing around with drums until it took me way too unbelievably long to realize just how messed up the chords were, and then I went to go and fix them. And it wasn't just the chords, it was kind of the melody and the bass, because I based everything on the chords. Yeah, it just sucked. Okay, I just realized I've been doing pretty much everything off beat for a bit, so I moved the chords and lead melody. I'm gonna move the bass back a little bit because Okay, I fixed the timing, so now it sounds like this. I also want to extend this second chord a little bit just so it rings out more. So see how that sounds. I like the way this is right now. I've been working on this for like about an hour and a half, an hour and 26 minutes to be exact. I like how this is coming out so far. Right here, I feel like should be the point where like one of these tracks does something different. I feel like, I don't know, I worked on it for like about an hour and a half. I feel like I'm just gonna leave it there for tonight. I might work on this tomorrow because it's Friday. Oh, and by the way, I'm recording this right after Neon Knights Remastered posted on the main channel, so that's pretty cool. So I might do more of this tomorrow because I don't really know how to progress with that. I might ask a few people just because I feel like the drums should do something different, and maybe the lead melody also does something weird. And I'll look into that and see how that would work. But yeah, until then, I'm gonna leave it at that for tonight. But that's not the end of this video. There's still more. And yeah, I'll see you when I record again. Let me save this real quick. Pluviophile, if that's how you spell it. Alright, we are back. So now I have a few ideas on how to actually continue this. Let me just add everything down again. Okay, I want to add a background melody, right? Or a different melody to take over the lead melody. So we're gonna name that lead melody 2, I guess. And it's gonna occur like right over here. Not sure. Definitely not that one. Do I want to make another vital instance? I feel like I should, just for the sake of this. Okay, can't drag that anywhere. That's just going to be below the drums, I guess. I probably should have planned this out beforehand. Also, I'm going to move the rain over to insert 6. So insert 6, there's going to be that. Tools/tweak to create automation clip. And then we're going to have to remake this. Okay, what I'm thinking for this second lead melody is something that also is like the first and matches with the chords, but is not exactly just the chords going up as like a scale or something. I want to have it like the notes of the chords, but like shaped differently, if that makes sense. But I gotta decide which preset the lead melody is gonna have. Maybe this one. I'm not sure. How about I want to make the melody of it first and then decide what preset it would be. So hold on. So notice how right here, just do stamp minor ninth F sharp. All of these are a note of the F sharp minor ninth chord. Matter of fact, everything up until this point was actually part of a note of the chords, or these original chords that were being used. Notice how the bass are just the chords, and then the lead melody is also the chords. Everything is the chords, and the lead melody is just the chords rearranged, and also different. Was that an autosave? So now I'm gonna take any of these notes and rearrange them in however way I like. That's exactly what I did for this one. It's not gonna be this exactly again, just with different notes. I plan to make it different for each chord. But yeah, I'm sure you can see what I'm getting at right here. I kind of like that. It's really convenient that the third and fourth chord, as you can see, kind of share a note. They share the same G. So I could use that as a transition and it would be kind of seamless. With the G into an A, or an A sharp at least, and then it would just go on. Do I count for the transition into the loop? Because at the end here it's just kind of empty and I want to add something. Do I make that a lead into the first part of the melody again, which is this? Do I lead into that for the last part? Maybe. Just gonna have these two notes because this is still part of that chord, as maybe a lead in into that for a loop. That's good. And now something I want to do. Do you see what I'm going for? We're gonna just have this play with the chords for 4 measures, which is however long it lasts, and see how that does. If it doesn't work, then we'll figure something else out. We're gonna use this as kind of like a break. If you remember with Neon Nights, that one part in like measure 41, I think it was. That's kind of like what this is gonna be, you know? Got inspiration from Resonance by Home. Great song. I feel like before that happens, we should also make a new drum pattern just for that. That kind of makes it a polyrhythm with lead melody 1, I think, which I don't really like. I don't like this being offbeat with it. Or at least not as the same instrument, because it is literally the same preset for the synth. So hold on, let me try to do this. What about this? It sounds better as a different instrument, but that is way too loud. Kind of drowns out everything else. Luckily, I set that to a separate insert in the mixer so I can lower it. I kind of like that. I also want to see how the different drums, like just the kick, would sound like. So let's see. Yeah, I kind of like the original drums better. And I want to make this something with like a hi-hat roll. By the way, what I'm doing, just so you're not insanely confused, each one of these bars is a beat on which the hi-hat occurs, and the height dictates its volume, or velocity as it's called. So you get it. I'm gonna see what that sounds like for a bit. I like it, but it's, again, way too loud, so hold on. This automation clip looks like it's moving up and down whenever I look at this. Alright, let's see how the hi-hats are now that I've lowered the volume. By the end of this, it's already at 2 minutes and 33 seconds, so this could pretty much just be the rest of the song. Let's try to see how it sounds from the beginning with that break. Alright. Let's just see what we have so far with whatever this is. So we got this whole section. I actually changed up the bass just a little bit off camera. Sorry if me hitting my mic was way too loud for that, because it looked very loud right here. Let's see how this goes. I also want to change up these drums just a little bit, and I'll show you what I mean in just a second. See how this is. This because I want to show you what I mean by these drums. So look how right here, this thing right here, this little kick, are right at the very end. It's supposed to loop back into it, but I don't want it there for every measure. You know, I want it there for like every other measure. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna lengthen this by a whole measure. Alright. And we're gonna recreate that right here. We're going to recreate this whole first half on the next. And then put the kick that I wanted every other measure actually there. And then here's what this is now. Alright, hold on, let me actually start that from the beginning. You see what I'm going for there? Let me also fix the volume of everything else. Let's see how that is right here. I think that was a good decision. And what I'm gonna plan for this is I'm just gonna do this. So it's gonna be the lead melody and everything. Lead melody 1, not 2. And the chords, but no bass. Alright, it's just gonna be the drums, chords, and lead melody 1. And then we're gonna create a new pattern. Drums 3. And it's gonna be the drums, which is like the same thing. It's still gonna be like 1 measure. So it's gonna be... and that'll be the song. So the ending will be like this. The lead melody is going to cut out with the bass, and then... and then the rain is going to raise the volume like right at the end, and then it's gonna fade out with everything, and then that'll be the song, probably. And when it fades out, I'm gonna cut it so the song doesn't last the whole 25 minutes that this rain ambiance is. So yeah, I just go back up gradually, and I think that might just be the song once I fix up this lead melody a bit so it's a bit more on beat with lead melody 1, because I don't want it to just be like stupid. I literally changed 1 note. See how the third measure sounds here. I kind of like that. So now that we're done with all of this, I assume, I kind of want to add effects, but I don't know which effects to add. Because, like, I kind of like this as is, if I'm being honest. I'm just go through effects and see what there is. See if it sounds better or not. Flanger, maybe. Also much better flanger just in Vital itself, so I just might not use this one. And I'll delete this preset. Just Control C until it undoes. Sounds weird. we should just move this 4 measures over. Like this whole outro bit. Just to make room for one more measure with the lead melody too. Because it only stays like in the lead for 3 actual measures. I just wanted to have it 4 just so everything is actually a thing, you know? So now it's in the lead for 4 measures, and now it's weird. I gotta reconfigure this too, so hold on. I don't know about effects. I mean, I know it makes it sound better, but then again, this is only my second project in FL Studio. The first one I made, like, I just went because, like, the effects, I wanted, like, a muffle kind of effect for the intro. But with this, that's, again, not really what did I just do? No. What did I just do? Okay, I don't know why I highlighted only that section now. We'll only play that for the rest of this. Okay. I fixed it. I don't know what I just did. And again, as that showed, I'm not experienced in FL Studio to know enough about how effects and go with everything and what needs what effect here. I only use the effects for muffled, and I felt like the delay in Neon Nights in that one part kind of just sounded cool, but I don't really see where to add something like that here. I just kind of added that delay to fill in the gap, which said gap isn't really in this song, I feel like. And if it is, I feel like it's like supposed to be here as opposed to Neon Nights where it just felt too empty for too long. So I don't really know about adding effects with this track. I think it's good as is right now. If I eventually do learn more with effects and how to do all this, then I will definitely add some effects, but this is what I want to leave it at for now, because I think this is good. So, as this is probably the finished project, I just want to give this one listen before we export the thing and see how this turned out. there's three things I want to fix. First, right here, I feel like the second part of this bass progresses too fast. If I were to just move this over 1/4 of a beat, let's see how that would be. I like that much better. Second thing, I want to make these drums kind of have a snare roll almost into the hi-hat spam part. Don't know how I do that though. I'm going to duplicate this if I can. No, I'm just going to make a new pattern. What did I do? Like that. I like that. And then one more thing before we are finished with this. I want this and something else from the lead melody to match up. That matches up better with the first measure of the lead melody. I also want to see how the entire song would sound without the rain ambiance in the background. I want to see if that would be beneficial to the song or not. Because the rain is cool, but I don't want that just clashing with everything else, if it does, which I'm assuming it will. So that's why I want to remove it from the majority of the song. So let's see how this sounds. See how the rain fades out, the song just builds up more. Okay, I think we are done here. So let me just do that. And that will be that'll be it. Actually, let me just cut one measure after that just so it stays muted. And we'll be good, I think. For now, that is. I might come back to this in a bit and like add some effects if I have any ideas on where to add them and also when. But yeah, I think this is good. I think we are ready to export this. There we go. Exports. It's a little bit shorter than Neon Nights, but that's fine. And there it is. And there we have it. Except we're not exactly done yet here. And what I mean by that is, I don't really have visuals, I just have the sound, which is why I have this thing called Dynamic Music Tesseract. And it's a VR program. It really looks like nothing at first until you play a sound. And then it does literal four-dimensional shapes to visualize that sound in VR. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna open the FL Studio project. And what we're gonna do is look at this. We're gonna have this on the second screen so I can actually record it once this loads up. By the way, I changed just a few things. I changed the second measure, or I changed every second measure that the bass line occurs so that it does this rhythm now. A bit slower, and also I lowered the attack a little bit on lead melody too, just so it has more impact for every note. So yeah, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna turn off the rain because, look at this. If the rain is on, then that's the wrong track. If the rain is on, then the thing also visualizes that as its own thing. Oh, settings. Can I not? Yeah, it's visualizing the rain right now as a sound. So we're gonna turn off the rain so that it doesn't actually clash with the visualization of the chords and everything. And we're gonna put this on the second monitor so FL Studio doesn't get in the way of it. We're gonna reset this. Can you not? Okay. And then I'm gonna turn off the mic and just let this do its thing. And the rest of this video is simply the audio visualizer just doing its thing. And yeah, there's really not much to that. That's how I made Pluviophile. So thank you everyone so much for watching. Like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, hit that bell for post notifications every time I upload a video. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.